Welcome to another edition of the Coastal Magic Concast podcast. Each edition is a compilation of the 5 daily features from my book blog, wrapped into one fantastic author chat. You're seeing the video of this conversation during our 2022 virtual convention. The audio version will magically become a podcast sometime in the future. I'm so happy to be getting to chat with David R. Slayton, who has not been with us at Coastal Magic before, and I am thrilled that he's been able to join us for the virtual. This is from David's official bio. David R. Slayton grew up in Guthrie, Oklahoma, where finding fantasy novels was pretty challenging, and finding fantasy novels with diverse characters was downright impossible. He now lives in Denver, Colorado, and writes the books that he always wanted to read. David's debut, White Trash Warlock, was published in 2020. Yay!
Thanks for having me on, Jennifer.
You are very welcome. Thank you so much for sticking around for the virtual version of things. I promised you a beach, and instead I'm giving you a computer. That does not seem like a fair trade.
You know, we'll make it happen eventually, and
yes.
you can always get me down to Daytona. That's not going to ever be a problem. So.
Excellent. So
we're barring pandemics and global
exactly. We're gonna try again for 2023. Which seems like such a weird thing to say. Anyway, 2023, that just doesn't even seem like it's a real thing.
I know, right? I'm still getting my head around 2022. Like, wait, hang on. It's only 2019, right?
Right.
2 years later.
Yeah. It's amazing, that whole time thing. It just keeps going and going and going. All right, my dear. So we are going to chat about some things. I have stolen from myself. I stole all of the features from my book blog. I don't mind. It's okay. I checked with myself first. So we are going to go through. Well, so far it's okay. So far it's okay. No arguments have broken out with myself, so we're good. We're good. We're going to go through the 5 days of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Each has its own feature. So Monday, we're going to start with Words and Music Monday. And I know you, and I know you have musical inspirations for your books and your characters and your writing. So why don't you share with the readers how music plays into your writing and into the characters?
Well, I write a lot of different genres. And so one of the things I do is I listen to music to try to get my emotions or my headspace into the same space as my character. And when I'm writing contemporary, like White Trash Warlock or the Adam Binder series, which is urban fantasy, so it's contemporary fantasy, music's a big part of Adam's world because he drives. And driving and road trips are a big theme in his books. So what he wants to listen to or what he's feeling while he's driving is all very music driven. So I create Spotify playlists for every book I write. Some of them are public, some of them are private. Just depends on when the book gets published. And so if you go out to Spotify and look for White Trash Warlock, or you look for Trailer Park Trickster or A Deadbeat Druid, the 3 Adam books, you'll find I've made playlists for all of them. And I make it. Thank you. Yeah, I really like him. And Adam was born out of music. So I was driving through North Carolina for work. It was kind of late at night. There was a full moon on the highway. And the trees were growing up, very craggly branches, and in the fall, and I heard that Kaleo song, Way Down We Go, on the radio. And that's when Adam first popped into my head. That's when I first had this character came to me. And I said, oh, wow. So he was born out of music. So he's always got a music. And one of the fun things I do in the books is I use references to real bands or music that influenced me or him. But on top of that, it's kind of become a bit of an in-joke to make up bands.
Right.
I needed a terrible, terrible band name for Trailer Park Trickster, which my friend Todd came up with. And my friend Shiri contributed one to Deadbeat Druid, the 3rd book. So it's fun because my editor will be like, wait, is this real? That's really fun. So there's a couple of real references and a couple of fictional bands and musicians in there too.
We'll have to do a Q&A sometime of whether it's a real band or a made-up band. That would be fun.
Definitely.
Yeah. So the Spotify links for those, we could actually, when we post this video, we can post those links underneath. So if you're watching this and you want to hear the music, just check the comments. We'll make sure that those get posted when this goes up.
Oh, cool. I hope people like it. And was one of the things that's been really, really fun and sweet of people in the last month are a couple of readers have made their own playlists
Oh,
and
that's
sent and
cool.
and tweeted them at me, which has been fun because there's actually been some overlap. One of them had some of the same songs. Did you
Hmm.
listen to mine, or did you just kind of find the same vibe, which I thought was cool?
That's cool. Very cool. Okay, so moving along from Monday to Tuesday. Tuesday is a top 10 list. So this can be a top 10 of anything, top 10 about you, about your books, about your characters, about some random thing that makes you smile. What top 10 things would you like to share with us today?
So these are just 10 random facts about me that you might want to know, or
Okay.
you might maybe not. I think they're kind of interesting. So like Adam, I'm a high school dropout, and I'm from Guthrie, Oklahoma. That recently, someone's like, "Wait a minute, I've been to Guthrie. Guthrie's a lot bigger than my hometown." I was like, "Yeah, but I didn't," and I have to correct this because I'm not from Guthrie. I'm from the woods on the swampy lake outside of Guthrie.
Ah,
So when people say, well, surely there were bookstores or access. So like, I guess you kind of understand that town was an hour away, and not having
right.
access to a car, having access to money because we were that poor. That
Hmm.
it kind of gets compounded with that. Guthrie itself is a little more cosmopolitan than that statement seems to say. But and
Right.
I love Guthrie. Guthrie's beautiful, but it like Adam, I'm from that swampy, out of town woods, scrub oak woods.
Right.
So I no dig on Guthrie. Guthrie's amazing, but I just wanted to I like to clarify that.
Right.
And since I am a high school dropout, kind of fact number two is I I'm always trying to deal with that. I'm always trying to make up for it. So I'm constantly going back and trying to learn new things. So I have 3 college degrees. One of which,
Wow.
yeah. So I'm like, gotta make up for getting that GED, you know.
Hmm.
I like to say I'm the world's most overeducated high school dropout.
There you
Um,
go.
and one of my degrees is in history, which means when you're reading my books in the Atom books, you'll see me weave in little tidbits and history snippets and secret things or cool facts I find out, and I love to
Right.
do that because that's part of being a historian, is trying to put in little cool little things I find in my research.
Hmm. That's the
And
best way to learn something is when it's you find it in a fun, not teachy, not preachy kind of way, you know?
yeah, and I feel like our world is just steeped in this cool stuff that we don't know about. Like
Hmm.
I live in Denver now, and nobody knows Denver used to have a Chinatown. But
Interesting.
yeah, because it was part of the railroad system, and there was a what was once called a race riot, but which is really a race massacre. In the 1800s, Denver's Chinatown was destroyed by a bunch of angry white people who eradicated it and burned the businesses down. And now there are almost no traces of it left. But people just don't know that about Denver because there's no
Right.
trace left. So I like to weave that stuff in and point it out. And in Trailer Park Trickster, we got to go back to Guthrie,
Mhm.
which was wonderful because I got to bring in a lot of cool stuff about Guthrie itself that has always been fascinated me. So number 3 on that is, because of that interest in history, I love to travel.
Okay.
And I drive a beater of a car. I drive a total piece of junk. And part of that is so that I can afford to travel. And of course, with the pandemic, I've been sort of stuck the last few years. But people are like, how can you afford to go to Europe once a year? I'm like, well, I go in off season and get the cheapest flight I can.
Right.
But the real trick is my car is a complete piece of junk. Since I work from home for both jobs, I'd much rather spend that money on a plane ticket every once in a while. And
I don't blame you there.
yeah, so I love to travel, and I drive a total beater, which I think people always think is kind of funny because I drive a 2002 Chevy Cavalier. That's how bad it is. But it is silver, so there has to be
Oh, there you go.
some small connection to the books.
Yeah.
I don't have Adam's car. I don't. If I had stupid money, like money to waste, I would buy Adam's car. But I don't know what I would do with it. What would you do with a '77 Cutlass? It take up a lot of space and gas.
Yeah.
And because of that, I'm a big fan of cruises. Speaking of Daytona and getting to go to Florida,
Hmm.
and my literary agency will do a cruise every couple of years. We're supposed to be going in April, but of course, because of the pandemic, much like
Right.
Coastal Magic going virtual, we've had to cancel. And I always thought, oh, I'm not going to like cruises. Cruises are an old people thing. And then I got on a cruise boat, like, oh, this is nice. Like I can just sit here I could just sit here on a balcony and watch the ocean go by and write. Like I'm in
Mhm.
heaven. So it's my favorite thing in the world is to get on a cruise ship, sit on the balcony. And my real favorite thing, this tells you what a boring person I am. When the boats go to the islands, like make a stop, I'll stay on the boat because the boat is empty. So it's like that's
Yeah.
when I'll be by the pool. There's no families. It's just really quiet. And you'll see
Gotcha.
me there with my laptop sitting by the pool with people
You know
bringing
what?
me drinks, of
If
course.
that's what makes you happy, that's what makes you happy. You go on.
It is my happiest place, and people just think that's the funniest. Like, dope, but trust me, put me on a boat with just the balcony, and I'm a happy guy.
There you go.
Um, in travel, probably my favorite place in the world is Greece. I've spent about 2-3 months in Greece. I'm
That's
actually
cool.
Yeah, and I'm actually Greek on my mom's side, way back,
Mhm.
but you don't see that in my, you can get it in my taste of food, really. But
Well, there you go.
yeah, so Greece is probably my favorite place in the world. I find the people to be just amazing.
That's
I've written a mystery set in Greece. We'll see if we get to sell it someday.
that
I
would
do
be
have
cool.
It's a fun book. I hope it works. My agent and I are kind of workshopping it now to see what's viable.
Hmm.
Um, I have a terrible sweet tooth, so there's one more for you.
Yeah.
Which is bad. I'm trying to cut down on my sugar, but I drink a lot of coffee if my very animated nature doesn't tell you that already. And again, when I'm on that balcony on the cruise boat, I will go to the coffee shop. I'll get an iced latte with Bailey's, and that is my drink of choice while I'm riding on the
There you
balcony.
go. There you go.
And part of my sweet tooth lately is I've been eating way too much coffee ice cream. That's my
Interesting. I'm not a coffee drinker, so I don't know that I would have the coffee ice cream, but my little sister would devour that.
Haagen-Dazs, man. It's like Haagen-Dazs coffee ice cream. That's my latest problem I need to work on. And here in Denver, we've got a couple of these cool Japanese dessert places that we just got it to go the other night called Mango Mango. And
Mhm.
I love Japanese desserts because they do things like green tea ice cream, but they do a lot, like red beans are in a lot of them.
Interesting.
Or they'll do this shaved ice that's a coconut, like a coconut base, so it's a little sweeter. It's not just ice, and then they'll put
Mhm.
like mango fruit or strawberries on it. So
Interesting.
I tried this hot black sesame soup. So it was like a dessert soup with rice balls in it, like the mochi balls.
You are very much more brave than me.
I won't be doing that again. I love the taste of sesame, but it was like you should have seen it with the spoon. Like it was this very thick. It was good. It tasted like sesame, and it was warm, but it also there was a bit of a grit. It was like okay,
That's unfortunate.
I think about half the portion would have been viable, but and also it was one of the kind of thing I wanted to eat cold. So like I better get this down. But
Right.
yeah, I was like that's a cup of it was too much. It's like I need about a little bit less.
Gotcha.
So I think I already mentioned this, but I write in a lot of different genres. So right now I'm
Mhm.
published in urban fantasy, somewhere
Okay.
there,
Mhm.
and just I have 3 or 4 books that I just sold that I can talk about really soon. So if you sign up for
Oh,
my news,
I thought you were going to say you can talk about now.
the ink until the ink is dry on the contracts, I unfortunately I can't
Just show me
spoil
where
them
I need to
yet.
point the fan.
Very soon. I'm just waiting on might be tomorrow or so. Literally, it could be any minute when I find out. So if you sign up for my newsletter at davidslayton.com, you'll get the scoop early. Otherwise, you should hear a squee echoing from Denver in your direction in the
Mhm.
next week or so.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan. Okay, what's next?
I am a huge nerd, so I'm a big gamer. I'm a big tabletop gamer. A lot of these books behind me are Dungeons and Dragons, and they're from
Cool.
the Ravenloft horror setting. I also, because again, I write space operas. You can see some Poe Dameron Star Wars stuff up there.
Mm-hmm.
When Star Wars: The Force Awakens came out, I really liked the character of Poe, and you'll notice some Star Wars references in White Trash Warlock
Mm-hmm.
and Adam's
Right.
books. But I really liked the character of Poe, And my friends picked up on that. So they started giving me Poe action figures. And so I have, I think like all of them. I need to donate them or sell them or something. They're piling up.
There's
So I got a lot
nothing
of
wrong with that.
I've got tons of Poe Dameron around the room. So but I have written the space opera, and once we get through the current contract stuff, I'm hoping to finish that and we can see if we can shop it.
Excellent.
And yeah, so big nerd of many types. I'm a big video gamer. That's how I wind down. And
Cool.
you mentioned music.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the music that I listen to are video game soundtracks, like Skyrim
Gotcha.
or Elder Scrolls Online. So especially when I'm writing epic fantasy, I want something that doesn't have words. I want to really more like feelings. So I'll put that stuff on and write. And on my happiest day is like a Saturday where I'll write for a few hours and my brain needs a break. I'll pivot over and play video games for an hour or two and then switch back and do that back and forth all day. And that's like my happiest day. Best Saturday,
Cool.
you know. And then
Great.
I guess one last final fun fact is I have a terrible, terrible sense of direction. So while I like to travel and love to visit new cities and places, do not trust me. You will miss your train. You will miss your ferry. I will get you so lost. But I will start marching as if I know where I'm going and be like, that's the way to the hotel. Nope, I am completely wrong. Don't trust me. I've learned to at least admit it and hopefully control myself. So this moon mask behind me is actually a tribute to this because I bought it in Rome. And I bought it at this really cool shop that's by the Castle of Angels. Our hotel was like 2 or 3 miles the other way. I was like, that's the way. And so I ended up having a hike with this thing in the back.
Oh my gosh.
Finally, the friend I was traveling was like, dude, we're totally going in the wrong direction.
Oh.
But I got it home safely and I had to carry it on the flight. I'm pretty
Yeah.
proud of the fact that it never got broken and made it home safe without any damage because I had to carry it on. It wouldn't fit in a suitcase. I had a window seat, so I tucked it between the seat and I had to hide it, right? Because it wasn't going to go under the seat.
Right.
Maybe if I just took my coat, they won't notice.
There you go. There you go. Goodness gracious. Yeah, I have no sense of direction either. If I live close enough to the beach that if I'm like within view of the beach, I can then tell what direction other things are. But short of that, no, I can find anywhere with a map. Like I'm a champion with a map. But if I don't have a map, probably not going to know which way to tell you to go.
Denver is easy because the mountains are always there to the west. So you can't get lost in Denver. And it's the reason in Adam's books, Adam can always turn on his sight and look into the spirit realm and can see the watchtowers, which are at the cardinal directions.
Right.
So Adam can't get lost because he can always look into the spirit realm. It's like, let me give him a very minor superpower that I'm giant.
There you go. There you go. All right. So we're going to move from Tuesday's 10 things. We're going to go into Wednesday, which is WWW Wednesday. And that's a chance to talk about something you found online recently that you thought was interesting or surprised you or made you laugh or taught you something. So what have you seen online recently that stuck with you?
Just the last couple of weeks, I've been working a lot on my day job, a lot of paperwork. So writing things up and data analysis. So I've been getting into podcasts for the first time in years.
Okay.
I used to listen to a lot of history ones like the History of Rome, but I've started listening to Jamila Jamil's podcast, I Weigh, which is just the letter I and then Way. And it's a really interesting conversation. Like she just had Gloria Steinem on. She had Reese Witherspoon on to talk about women in entertainment and movie making. So it has a strong feminist angle, but it's also discussing our perceptions of people, of women, especially in social media and in media, and trying to accomplish changing the perception from our physical appearance to what we should weigh, which is what we accomplish or what really matters about us to us. So that's been brilliant.
That's cool.
And I've been listening to Nicole Byers' Why Won't You Date Me, which is funny because they've each been on each other's podcasts. And Nicole Byers is one of my favorite people. She's so funny. Her podcast is very crass, just to tell you now, it is not safe for work. do not listen to it without headphones in the office. So I'm warning there, you're going to get some rated R material. But it's hysterical, and I've been getting a lot out of that too, and just enjoying it. Especially because she tends to have a lot of comedians on, people that she's
Mhm.
worked with in the industry, and mostly it's around the focus of relationships, dating, and why is Nicole still single despite being
Right.
so amazing. And I've just been getting a lot out of those two podcasts this
That's
week.
fun. Very cool. We'll make sure that we link to those as well. So anybody that wants to check those out, we'll have those links under this recording. So people can go find those. Excellent. Okay, so from Wednesday, we go to Thursday, which is review day. So in addition to being an awesome writer, you also read books, I'm sure. So what have you read recently that you really loved, or what's on your TBR that you can't wait to get to?
I've been reading, so I tend to read 2 or 3 things at the same time. I like to flip around depending on my mood. So if I'm writing, like I've been working on a thriller short story, which is coming out in anthology, I think next year, might be late this year. So when I'm working on that, I listen to something. I use audiobooks mostly, so I say listen as opposed to read. But I do read a lot as I'm going to bed as well. So the things that I've been reading the most lately are Bill Conensberg's The Music of What Happens, which is a YA book. It's very sweet. It's got a kind of a love story in it, but it also has got some heavy stuff too. And I had a pretty rough childhood, so and you'll see that if you get into Adam's books. But even this one's got a few things from like I have to stop and go,
Mm-hmm.
So that is brilliant. I'm about halfway through, and I hope to wrap it up soon because it's really, really cool. But it is kind of heavy at points just to
What
run.
was the name of it again?
The Music of What Happens.
Gotcha.
And it's about 2 boys who go to the same high school. They don't know that each other is gay, and they end up running a food truck together to save the one boy's house from his mother, who is basically I haven't reached the point if they say if she's mentally ill, but you're getting the sense that she's mentally ill or she's not
Gotcha.
capable of caring for things, and they're losing their house. So,
Gotcha.
but the boys are very different. It's interesting to watch them bounce off each other, and it's very well written. And Bill's best known, I think, for Openly Straight. That was his first book, and that broke really big. So if you want something YA, if you want something much lighter in that, one book that I read over and over again is Date Me, Bryson Keller.
Okay.
I love this book. It's another YA. There's the most popular boy in high school. Every week lets a different girl ask him out, and he goes out with them for 1 week. And finally, out of frustration, this very closeted gay boy who he has a really bad day, and he basically blames Bryson for it. So he asks Bryson out and makes Bryson date him for a week. And it's just a very, very sweet book, and I love it on audio. I probably listen to it twice a year.
Wow. Okay, cool.
And
I've
then
heard of that one before. I have not read it, but I've heard of that before.
it was probably from me. I really can't shut up about that book. I love that. And then Gail Carriger recently released her latest novella, which
I love her stuff.
I love Gail's stuff. Everything she writes is just golden, and especially if you want something that's kind of uplifting and funny, but also will sometimes give you just a little bit of a little bit of ass kicking in there too.
Yeah.
She just does a great job with that.
Absolutely.
And then I've been reading. I think that's kind of everything I'm working my way through right now. But come back to me in a week, and I'll switch over to something entirely else.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much standard fare for most of us at this point. All right, so from Thursday, we go into Friday chats, which is essentially a time to talk about anything happening in David World. So recent releases, upcoming releases, appearances that you're making, new things that you're learning, things that are making you smile these days. What is happening in David World?
Well, I am literally on the edge of my seat getting to make some announcements. I am just every day checking my email, like watching my phone for a pop-up.
So what you're trying to tell me is that we should be recording this tomorrow.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm enjoying torturing my readers and torturing my friends because they're like, when's it going to happen? Like, I don't know. So now I can share the pain of the suspense with you. But I can say that I have 4 very big announcements coming literally any day.
Good.
And They are all things I'm super, super excited about. And they're new and different stuff. Something I can tell you without any kind of top secretness is Deadbeat Druid, the third Adam book, is edited, turned in. The
Nice.
cover, the Nerd Daily is going to do the cover reveal on March 2nd, maybe March 3rd. So we're about to get the cover. I've seen it. I'm not allowed to share it.
Very cool. Very cool.
It's killer, and it fits right in with the color themes and everything for the first two. I just
Nice.
Sarah Riediger, who did the art, did such an amazing job. And yeah, we've got the line edits done for it now, and we're just waiting to see if the arcs should be coming out, and then we'll get to recording the audio book.
Very cool. That's super cool. I'm so excited. That's exciting. Yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Blackstone's incredible. They do such a great job with artists and narrators. They're an incredible company, and I cannot say enough cool things about them. But it just as a weird note again on that, they recently, because of all the supply chain things and books getting, you've heard about like those books that got lost on the way from China and the whole print run. Blackstone is printing everything now in the United States.
Oh wow, that's cool.
So they're printing them they print all of their books regardless of format in Ashland, Oregon, and they print it using local labor and local people.
Nice.
They've installed printing presses, and it's just cool, getting to see American labor brought to it. So if you buy one of my books, Trailer Park Trickster, they're working through the back stock on Warlog, but if you buy a Blackstone book now, it's printed in the United States and Oregon.
That is very cool. Very nice. I like it. I like it. All right, so that's book stuff. What about appearances? Do you have anywhere you're planning on being later this year?
Well, I'm going to be at Coastal Magic virtually next week.
Yes.
And I'm going to be at the Tucson Book Festival. I was invited, which is a really, really big honor. Next month, so in March, I'll be at the Tucson Book Festival along with Bill Kronisberg, who I hope to get to meet.
Nice.
Face-to-face too. And I get to be on a panel with Shauna McGuire and TJ Klune, two really big names in urban fantasy, obviously.
Very cool.
Awesome. And that's
the October Day series is on my list of things that I would love to get to one of these days.
I love that series, and the real trick to it is you can't skip it. You can't skip around.
No.
One of the things Shannon does, I got to take a class from her on plotting at a conference years ago. She is a master of this little thing in book 1 will come back in book 5, and this other little thing will come back in book 8.
I love books that do that. I love it.
She's very, very smart. So you can't, like, full disclosure, I found the second book to be a little bit weaker than the first, but I stuck with it. The third one blew me away. Love the third book. I think the third one's my favorite. But
very cool.
I'm so glad I didn't try to skip the second one, because it lays all this groundwork that will come back later.
Right. Yeah. No, I would not try to do them out of order. I have so many series on my to be read list right now, and that one's pretty high up there. So eventually I'm hoping that I'll get through it.
They're great on audio. I listened to them when I was gardening.
Oh, cool.
Did I ever tell you about Mulchageddon?
No.
Okay, here's a little story for our viewers and listeners.
Okay.
So when I first bought my house, as I've said a few times, I live in Denver, and Denver is we're always in a drought. Water is very scarce here, so we really should do our best to conserve it. So I thought, I'm going to xeriscape out my front yard, which means taking out all the grass and putting in rocks and mulch. So I said, I'm going to order enough mulch to cover my entire front yard, and I'm going to sheet mulch it. I'm going to put down a little cardboard, bury that in mulch, and then over time, remove the grass and revert it to a more native landscape and save all that water. And I have a very large yard somehow, so I didn't really want to water all that and waste that money.
Mm-hmm.
I am bad at math, Jennifer. I am terrible at math. And I ordered 32 cubic yards of mulch.
Instead of feet.
Yep. So the dump truck shows up and dumps it in the driveway. And it goes from the garage door all the way to the end of the driveway, into the street a little bit. And it's taller than a minivan.
Oh, no.
It took me, and I thought, I got it for Labor Day. I'll just spend Labor Day shoveling mulch, 3 days. This won't be too bad. It took me about 9 days. I had friends coming over to help like bring a snow shovel, please come help. Grab as much cardboard as you can.
No.
Neighbors were like, oh, can I buy some? I'm like, please just take as much as you want. I come out in the morning and find wheelbarrows that have been carved out. I'm like, just take it, please. I have way too much mulch. But it gave me the chance for about a week to listen to almost the entire October Day series that was out for that week. I spent that whole week just listening to October Day on
Oh my
audio.
God, that's amazing. That's fantastic. And I bet your yard looks amazing.
I post a lot of pictures on Instagram. I do have a lot
Yep.
of bulbs. I went crazy because of the pandemic. I got a little depressed and my mom died. So I planted to cheer myself up. I wanted to lay some seeds for something more positive. So last fall, I planted 150 bulbs. So if you find me on Instagram in about a month or two, you're going to see a lot of flower pictures.
Your flower pictures are gorgeous. I love when you post from your garden.
They're very gothy, so they tend to be very black and red. I mean, if you can't tell from the vibe in here, a lot of purples and blues, very, very gothy.
Well, I love them. So thank you for sharing all of that. All right, so I think that about wraps us up. Is there a someplace that people can find you online? Where should people look to find?
Yeah, I'm most social media wise. I'm the most active on Twitter as a writer. Instagram, I post a lot of flower pics. I gave up on TikTok. I just can't dance and I'm not that funny. I just can't do TikTok. I gave up on it. I occasionally post something, but I'm not very active there. But if you just go to davidslayton.com,
Gotcha.
all of my social media handles are in the upper right. And again, you can sign up for my newsletter to get scoops. I'm going to try to give anybody who signed up a week ahead or so before the news on my announcements hit publisher.
Nice.
So, and then
Very cool.
I won't spam you if you sign up. I promise I'll send out something like twice a year.
I think that would be fine. All right. I think that about does us. So again, thank you very much. We will see you on panels and discussions and games the rest of this Coastal Magic. And hopefully by the beach next year.
Hopefully.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.